Get ready to push the boundaries of fear and mystery on this dark journey to the 5 most cursed places in the world. Episode 1, Aokigahara, The Scream Behind the Silence. A forest marked for tourists lies to the west of Mount Fuji. Its name is Aokigahara. It looks like a lush, peaceful, natural wonder. But there is a dark truth hidden behind those trees that challenges one's mind. This is the most sinister place in Japan. It is popularly called the suicide forest. Even when you reach the entrance of the forest, a strange uneasiness begins to surround you. No bird song, no rustling leaves. Nature seems to be buried in silence here, and a feeling that fills you. I don't belong here. Time works differently for many people when they are in Aokigahara. Those who get lost lose not only their orientation, but also their mental balance. The forest's magnetic structure disrupts compasses and electronic devices. But technology isn't the only thing that gets lost there. People get lost too, and many are never found again. As you move through the forest, you see ribbons tied to trees. Some are left as a guide, others as traces of a recent walk, tents, notes, medicine boxes, and sometimes a body still hanging from a tree. The corpses are usually accompanied by final words. Please forgive me. I'm tired. Life is too much for me now. In this forest, even nature seems to have swallowed the pain. If you scream, it won't echo. A cry for help melts into the void. Aokigahara is known not only for suicides, but also for paranormal events. Locals believe that the forest is haunted by spirits who have not found peace. Some hikers claim to see something moving through the trees, a cold wind suddenly blowing, or something unseen touching them. Sometimes at night, whispers are said to be heard in the forest. But when you follow the sound, you find nothing. Or worse, something finds you. Some researchers who took videos in the forest noticed inexplicable figures reflected in their cameras and a second voice whispering in the audio recordings. Some claim to have experienced insomnia, hallucinations, and depression for weeks after returning from there. Japanese authorities have placed signs in the forest to prevent suicide. Life is precious. Please consult the police or your family. But even these words disappear in the darkness of the forest. Every year, bodies are collected from here. But what is truly terrifying is those who cannot be collected. Everything in the forest seems to want to swallow you. It is as if it were a living being, watching you, calling you. And in the end, you are lost. Aokigahara is not just a forest. It is like a mirror. It shows you the pain you suppress inside. And if that pain is deep enough, it will keep you there forever. Part 2. Poveglia, the cursed island of Venice. In the deep blue waters of Italy, right next to Venice where gondolas float peacefully, there is a small island that is almost forgotten on maps. It is not mentioned in tourist brochures. Guides do not organize tours here, and the locals hesitate to even mention its name. This is Poveglia Island. But for those who hear this name, it is not just a place. It is a symbol of darkness and decay. The story of Poveglia dates back centuries. During the plague epidemic that brought hell to Europe in 1348, this island was used as a quarantine zone. Thousands of people who caught the plague were sent to this island helplessly, and they never came back. This place became their grave, but it is not an ordinary grave. The grave of those buried alive, burned bodies, pain mixed with the soil. According to some estimates, more than 160,000 people may have died on the island. The ground was covered with so many burned corpses that it is said that 50% of the island consists of human ashes. Years later, in 1922, the island entered an even darker period. A mental hospital was built here, but this hospital was not for treatment, but for torture. Patients were used as guinea pigs in experiments, primitive lobotomies were performed. And a doctor who pioneered all this lost his own sanity? According to legend, the doctor was driven mad by the screams of his patients. One night he jumped from the hospital tower, but before he jumped, he was allegedly pushed by something unknown, and his last words were, "They are here. They will never leave me." Today, Poveglia is officially closed to visitors. However, researchers who entered the island illegally described experiencing the following: footsteps, but no visible presence; whispers from within the walls; sudden pressure waves that create a feeling of suffocation; and most frightening of all, screams from the empty corridors. Some said they were frozen near the tower, unable to move, and felt the breath of an unknown entity on their necks. A group of paranormal researchers caught the following sentence on their recording devices: "You can't leave here. Those who go to Poveglia return, but none of them are the same person. It starts with a slight headache, and within days it turns into insomnia, hallucinations, and paranoia. The Italian government has repeatedly considered opening it up to tourism, but each attempt has failed, or investors have fled during the night for unknown reasons. Some believe that the bones beneath this island are still unrest, because there is something there, a rotten darkness that remains of humanity, and that darkness still lives. This is the silent but deadly story of Poveglia. But the darkness in this series doesn't just end there. The Sallie House, where the devil enters. In the small and quiet town of Atchison, Kansas, an ordinary American house stands out from the outside. With its white walls, front porch, and backyard, everything is as it should be. But inside this house, there are traces of the devil, and her name is whispered Sally. The story begins in the early 1900s. A little girl, Sally, is called to this house with severe stomach pains and is rushed into surgery by a doctor. But the doctor starts the procedure before the anesthesia has fully taken effect. Sally's screams shake the house, and that innocent child dies in pain. This house has never been the same since that day. Over the years, those who stayed in the house began to experience inexplicable events. The lights would turn on and off by themselves, scratching sounds were coming from the walls, objects would shift. But the real nightmare began in 1993, when the Pickman family moved into the house. Tony and Deborah Pickman were soon targeted by an unseen entity. Tony would wake up with scratches, burns, and bruises suddenly appearing on his body. Toys were moving around in the baby's room. Electronics were malfunctioning. And one night, Tony looked in the mirror and saw the figure of a little girl standing behind him. But when he turned around, there was no one there. At first, everyone thought it was just a child spirit. But as events unfolded, it became clear that the presence inside the house was much more malevolent. More than one medium claimed that not only a child was in the house, but also a demonic entity. Another spirit witnessed Sally's death. Perhaps she was not alone in the house that day. Some researchers say that a demonic entity, going by the name of Sally, feeds on pain and fear. And this house is her playground. Sallie House has been visited by many paranormal investigation teams over the years. EVP recordings have found a girl crying and a man's voice whispering. Thermal cameras have detected cold figures suddenly appearing in empty rooms. When one investigator went down to the basement, he suddenly fainted and then said, "Something grabbed my throat. I couldn't speak. I couldn't get away. I just heard it breathing." The Sallie House still stands today. It is available for rent by anyone who wants to, but the stories of those who have left the house are the same. Nightmares last for days. Even after they leave, the mental unrest continues. And most frightening of all, some say something came with them. The Sallie House is a seemingly ordinary house, but its walls hide the screams that have echoed through the years. The floor shakes with unknown footsteps, and the basement is still a place no one wants to stay. The story of this house began with the innocence of a child. but now it is written with fear itself. If you are ready to pursue your fears at night, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because here, darkness is always near.